LTS Story of the Week: The Stand for Christ. What would you do if the government told you that you had to bow down to their idol or else suffer the consequences? Well, for one woman, her name was Ahn. That moment came, and her answer shook an empire. Now, Ahn was born in Korea in the year 1908, and during this time there was no North or South Korea, there was just Korea. And during this time, Korea was under Japanese occupation, and that meant one thing: control. The Japanese Empire suppressed the Korean language, Korean culture, and worst of all, Korean faith. Christians were especially targeted. But despite this being the case, Ahn was raised in a Christian household, and she came to know Jesus early on in life and made a quiet but firm commitment: I will follow Christ no matter what. She went on to become a teacher and a talented musician, but nothing could prepare her for what happened next. You see, in 1930, the Japanese authorities pushed their oppression of Koreans even further by making the decree that all Koreans must bow down to something Japanese, whether it be the emperor's statue, the rising sun flag, or the sun gods. The message was clear: that we not only tell you how to live your lives, but we also tell you who to praise and worship as God. And sadly, out of fear and want to protect their families, many people bowed down. But Ahn, she stood still. She said, if I compromise now and bow to the idol, how will I ever stand for Christ when it's harder? And Ahn wasn't dumb. She knew that prison was waiting for her if she refused to bow down. So she prepared. 6 months she went up to the mountains, no comfort, no distraction. She fasted, she prayed, and most importantly, she memorized over 100 chapters of scriptures. Not verses, chapters. She was preparing herself to be without a Bible. When Ahn came down from the mountain, she watched sadly as the crowds continued to bow down before the flag. But even though that was the case, her time had come and she stood tall for Christ. And like she also knew what happened, she was arrested immediately. And what followed were 6 brutal years in prison. She was beaten, starved, and tortured. But no matter what they did, she would not deny Christ. Instead, she preached to prisoners, to guards, even to her enemies. One of the cruelest of guards later on gave his life to Christ because of her witness. She said, the more I suffered, the more I felt God's presence with me. Her prison became her pulpit. In 1945, Japan finally surrendered and Korea was free, and Ahn walked out of her prison cell, not bitter but full of faith. She eventually moved to the U.S., studied at Bible college, got married, and became known as Esther Ahn Kim. She told her story far and wide, and eventually it was written into a book called If I Perish. She passed away in 1997, but her life continues to be an inspiration to all of us. Esther's life story isn't just history, it's a challenge to all of us, especially if we call ourselves a Christian. You see, Jesus says in Matthew chapter 10, verses 32 through 33, if you acknowledge me before others, I will acknowledge you before my Father in heaven. But if you deny me, I will deny you. You see, it's not about religion, it's about relationship and allegiance. We don't all face idols made of stone, but we do face pressure to stay silent, to go with the crowd, to put comfort over conviction. But the question remains, will you bow down or will you stand for Christ? And so until next time, be blessed, stay blessed, and always put Jesus first.